right, my friends, welcome back. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Christine. I'm the Astro CEO. Welcome. Wow. So we have an interesting topic today. So, and those of you that have been following me for a while know that I do not like eclipses, but that's what we're going to talk about today. Eclipses. We've got one coming up next Tuesday, which is the 17th of September. If you see me looking down, I'm just looking at my notes. I'm looking at my calendar right here. Yeah, so next Tuesday we have a lunar eclipse. So let's just have a chat about what this means. Okay. So I'm one of those people that I don't like change very much, and especially change that I have no control over, right? I like to be able to be the facilitator of the change in my life, but that's not the job of an eclipse. So when an eclipse shows up, well, first of all, let me tell you that there's two types of eclipses. There's a lunar eclipse and a solar eclipse. Lunar eclipses literally take something out of your life. Solar eclipses bring something new into your life. And so that is the differences between the two. And they generally travel in pairs. And so we have a lunar eclipse, which is going to take something away that is happening in September, on September 17th, next Tuesday. And then we have the solar eclipse. Let me just grab my notes here. Sorry, I should have been more prepared. The solar eclipse is happening on the 2nd of October. Okay. So those are the dates, just FYI. So now the thing about eclipses and astrologers, we may differ a little bit. We may differ a little bit about this. Um, I believe that you can feel an eclipse 1 month before the date and 1 month after the date. Now, yes, some other astrologers will say, yeah, you can feel it up to 6 months before and 6 months after. I kind of agree with that, but the probability and the intensity generally happens, in my opinion, as an astrologer, 1 month before and 1 month after. They rarely do they ever happen on the day, but they can happen 1 month before, 1 month after. So you can look at your calendars and kind of gauge from there. And then as astrologers, what we do is where we can tell what area this is going to affect in your life is we need to look at your chart. We need to look at your ascendant, which is your rising sign, and determine where this eclipse is going to fall, inside your chart, inside your house. And so that's how we can narrow down and say, oh my God, this is going to affect your career or your finances or your relationships. That's how it works. So that's what we're going to talk about today, which is eclipses. The job of an eclipse, and I'm trying to make friends with eclipses, but the job of an eclipse is to come in and to facilitate change. It's to help you grow. It's to help get you out of situations where you feel like you're stuck. Okay. So we're here on this planet to evolve and to grow and to learn here in the school of life, right? And so the eclipse just kind of helps push you forward a little bit and facilitates change so we don't get stuck in a particular area of our lives. So that's what we're going to talk about today, is eclipses. But before we do that, I want to check in, see how everybody's doing. I want to tell you, I went out to dinner. I have to tell you this. I think this is so cool as an astrologer. I went to dinner last night with some friends of ours. And so my husband and I went to dinner with another couple. And we went to this fabulous Italian restaurant. Oh my God, it was so good. Like I purposely went hungry, right, to this Italian restaurant. And they had the garlic knots and the sauces and oh my God, it was so freaking good. But get back to my story. The couple that we were having dinner with, our friend of ours, it was her birthday. And so I ran over to Target. I just want to tell you this. So if you want to go get one, you can go get one. Ran a Target to go pick up some other things and get her a birthday card. So I'm looking, in the birthday card section, and I go to where they sell papyrus there in Target. And this is not an ad for Target or papyrus or anything like that. I just want to tell you something cool that I found. So I'm in there looking for a birthday card for her, and guess what I found? This was in the birthday card section at Target, where they sell papyrus cards. But look at this. This is I don't even know what kind of card this is. Oh, this is a birthday card. So I found this in the birthday card section. Look at this. It's an astrology birthday card, but look at this. I'm going to hold it up here close so you guys can see it. Look, it has all the signs on there and the wheel and the dates and everything. Isn't that cool? I thought it was really cool because I'm always trying to, even as an astrologer, I mean, there's a lot of information packed up here, but I'm like, okay, when does Capricorn start? Yeah, like I don't have all these dates memorized, but I thought this was really cool. I'm going to let it sit on my desk. And I just thought I'd mention it in case you guys want to go to Target and go grab one. Yeah, aren't these really cool? Papyrus, and it's got little bling. See the bling on there, and it's all shiny. It's got the little eclipse right there in the middle, right? I was like, oh my God. So I'm with my husband. He's like, well, who are you buying that for? And I'm like, I'm buying it for myself. And I'm going to put this on my desk. You know what I should do is go get a frame for it and then put it here on my desk. It's going to sit right there. So I know, yeah, I just thought it was really cool. And I have all the signs there in front of me. All right. So enough of that. Let's get down to business. I know all of you are wondering, like, okay, what's going to happen with the eclipse? How is this going to impact my life? I just want to say a few more things about the eclipse. Its job is to come in and disrupt your life. It's disruptive change in your life. And it's a time in your life where its purpose, the eclipse, is to come in and dissolve things. So if you're sitting there and you're like one of those people that you don't like change, right? What it does is it forces you to re-examine a situation that you're in. So for instance, if it falls in your relationship sector of your chart, you can go, you know what? I was kind of thinking about breaking up with that person anyway, and they just did me a favor by walking out the door, right? Or maybe the eclipse is going to fall in your fourth house, which is home. Like maybe you find out some shocking revelation, like, the room you rented out, maybe you're renting it out to like somebody that you didn't know a whole lot about. Like maybe he's a serial killer or a raging alcoholic, or there's some sort of disruption at home. So it really depends on where it falls. But you got to look at eclipses as it's the disruptor, and it comes in and helps get all the areas in your life where you're stuck, that stuck energy, to get it unstuck and to force you to change. So like I said, I do not like eclipses, especially when life is going really well. Like I don't like eclipses to step in and start switching things around. And depending upon, where it falls in your chart, how it hits your natal chart, it could be something like your favorite show gets canceled on TV and you're like, oh my God, or your favorite like news anchor decides to retire or leave, or they get fired and you're like, oh my God, I loved watching this person on this news channel. Could be something minor like that, or it could be that you lose your job or you break up with somebody. So we're going to get into all that. I'm going to go through all 12 signs and just kind of give you a general heads up and let you know where the eclipse is going to fall. Okay, so this is really important. So I'll go through all 12 signs. Just want to give everybody, oh, no, I'll save that for another. We'll talk about something else later. Okay, so let's get started, guys. Let me get my notes here. I've got my notes here because I don't want to miss anything, right? There's a lot to cover. So we're going to start with Aries. Okay, so we're going to start with Aries. Aries, the eclipse is going to affect your 12th house. Okay, so this is kind of one of those houses where, as astrologers, how I was taught to view the 12th house is you want to refer to it as the attic, where all the secrets are. It's kind of one of those houses that, things get locked up there, like it's the attic. And when you do go and visit the attic, like what happens? Like you walk out and you're like, oh my God, I saw a spider, or do I have spider webs on me? It's kind of where everything gets locked up. And so the eclipse is affecting the 12th house. And so I wouldn't be surprised if for Aries, I'm just sorry, guys, I'm just looking at my notes here because I don't want to miss anything. I want to give you accurate information and I don't want to miss a thing. So, and I also refer to the 12th house as also like the blind spot. Okay, the 12th house. So what could happen with this eclipse? Oh, it's also the house of secrets. So if you're an Aries, all of a sudden there may be some sort of secret revealed to you, right? That gets unlocked, right? So just kind of keep that in mind, Aries, that that's where all the secrets lie and the confinement and things like that. So I wouldn't be surprised, again, it depends on where it hits in your chart. And so basically I want to tell you this too before I go any further. This is the most accurate when you apply this to your ascendant or your rising sign. Now, you can apply this information also to your sun sign, but it's not going to be as accurate. Okay, so if you know your rising sign, which is also called your ascendant, this is how you need to apply that. Okay, if you're confused and you're like, I don't even know what a rising is or ascendant, then connect with me. You can join my membership. It's a monthly membership, or you can book a reading and we can go over all that and we'll figure all that out. Okay. So for Aries rising, okay, this is what I'm talking about. The house of secrets in the attic where things get locked up. I wouldn't be surprised for Aries that some sort of big secret is revealed and you're like, oh my God, I never knew. So a big secret gets unleashed because we're unleashing all this, the house of secrets. And it's also the house of confinement too. So usually sometimes that's associated with hospital stays, the 12th house, if you have some activity going on there that, so don't be surprised if all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I got to go to the emergency room or I got to stay in the hospital for a couple days. It's the 12th house. It also deals with secrets too. So kind of keep that in mind. It might be a big secret that could be revealed. Okay. Okay. So that is Aries rising. So the 12th house. All right, so let's talk about Taurus rising. Okay, so if you're Taurus rising, the eclipse is going to happen in your 11th house. So what is the 11th house? The 11th house is friends, groups, communities, and allies. So there's going to be some sort of change happening. Again, remember, we're talking about a lunar eclipse where something is taken away from you. So it could be that, the group that you were in, all of a sudden the group dissolves because that is the job of an eclipse. Like things dissolve during eclipse energy. So it could be, I was in this community group and all of a sudden the leader of the group says, okay, we're not doing this group anymore. It's dissolving. So that is what's happening. It's going to hit your 11th house there. Friends, groups, communities, allies. Okay. That's for Taurus rising. Okay, moving on. If you're a Gemini rising, okay. Gemini rising, the lunar eclipse is going to affect your 10th house. So what is that? The 10th house deals with career. Don't be surprised, Gemini rising, if you lose your job during this eclipse season. So I want you to, if that happens, guys, I want you to consider this a blessing in disguise. Maybe this wasn't the right fit. Maybe you lose your job and oh my God, something else better comes along that with better benefits and higher pay. Like, wouldn't that be great? So the eclipse's job, remember, is to push you. Like maybe you're kind of stuck. You're like, hey, I really like this job. I'm not making that much money, but I really like being here. Well, the universe is going to step in and say, no, I've got a better job for you. But in order for you to get that better job, I'm gonna make sure that you lose this job. So wouldn't be surprised if you're Gemini rising that you lose your job during this eclipse. I hope that that doesn't happen. It also could be a career change. Like maybe you're thinking, you know what? I've been working in finance and now I want to go into something else. I want to go into the travel industry. My dream job that I've been thinking about for years and years. This is the time to do that. So if you do lose your job, I want you to think about, gosh, what did I really want to do? Think about when you were a kid, like, what did you want to be when you were all grown up, right? So think about those things. If you're Gemini rising, this is a time, if you do happen to lose your job, because the eclipse is in the 10th house, the 10th house is your career. And so if you're thinking about a career change, this is a good time. So Gemini rising, that's what you got going on there. It's affecting your 10th house. It's movement in your career and changes in your career. So for Gemini. All right. So for Cancer, all the Cancer risings out there, the lunar eclipse is going to affect your 9th house. This is your 9th house of spirituality. It also deals with your belief system and it deals with travel abroad. So traveling to foreign countries. And so if you're Cancer rising, having this eclipse in the ninth house, you may just have a new approach to a spirituality and to religion. You might decide to go on a spiritual retreat, or you could totally change. Like maybe for years and years you were a Catholic, and all of a sudden you decided, I don't want to be a Catholic anymore. I think I'm going to switch to Buddhism. So you switched, you change, you're exploring different belief systems, different religions. That is perfectly acceptable. The eclipse is going to come in and challenge you. It's going to challenge your belief system and what you believe in. So that's what's in store for Cancer rising. It's going to hit your ninth house. Let me just look at my notes. I want to make sure I don't miss anything. Okay, so if you are a Leo, if you're a Leo rising, Leo ascendant, the lunar eclipse is going to affect your eighth house. This is for a lot of astrologers, the eighth house is a tricky one. It's one of those houses that's kind of hard to describe. Okay, so the eighth house is like your karmic debt. It can also deal with lottery winnings too, but we're talking about the lunar eclipse. It's things taken out of your life. Okay. Um, Sometimes you could lose somebody. Okay. So hopefully that doesn't happen, but it can. Eighth house, it also deals with joint financial matters. So what does that mean? Joint financial matters. It deals with like commissions, bonuses. Like you could be waiting for a bonus and all of a sudden they're like, no, we decided you're not getting any bonuses this year. We're going to take that away from you. So karmic debt, losing a loved one. The eighth house can be really tough, but it also deals with lottery winnings. But again, we're talking about having something taken out of your life, the lunar eclipse. So be on the lookout for that one. The eighth house is joint financial matters. So what could also fall under that is divorce and custody battles and who pays what in this custody battle. So that could come up too for Leo rising. Okay, so it's time to pay up your karmic debt, right? So it's kind of a tough house, but it could be a house of tension and stress. It also deals with your entanglements with other people. Okay, joint finances. So you could be in the negotiation stage right now, trying to figure out child support, child custody issues, divorce. Like, how are we going to settle up in this divorce? Okay, so that's what happens. If you're Leo rising, it can be kind of tough. Okay, getting through this, but I want you to remember that the job of an eclipse is to help us grow. Because once you get through that, you'll be like, boom, that ain't never going to happen to me again because I learned. Okay, prenup is the way to go. I'm just using that as an example. But that's the thing about eclipses, that once they step in and they teach you the lesson and they force you to change, you'll never make that mistake again. All right. Your eyes are wide open in whatever house that the eclipse falls into. Okay. All right. So that is for my Leo rising individuals. Okay. So let's move on to Virgo. And if you see me looking down, I'm just looking at my notes. I just want to make sure that I don't miss anything, right? Because this is a lot of information. Okay. So for the Virgo rising out there, the eclipse is going to affect your seventh house. Okay, so seventh house deals with relationships of all kinds. Okay, so not just your love life, but your friendships, relationships of all kinds. The relationship you have with your siblings, relationship you have with your parents. It's abroad. Your love relationships, your love entanglements, your relationship with your boss or your coworkers, relationships of all kinds. And I think what's going to come up, we have the eclipse falling in your seventh house if you're a Virgo. What I have to say about that is that you may lose somebody. Okay, a friendship or some sort of relationship may come to an end. And so as a Virgo rising, what this is going to teach you is to really follow your instincts about people. Okay, your eyes are going to be wide open, and for most Virgos, their eyes are already wide open, and you just may be at that point too. I mean, you're going to also learn from this eclipse. Your eyes are going to be wide open once you see that person leave your life. But It could be that maybe you were considering breaking up with this person. Let's say it's a love entanglement. You were thinking about breaking up with them anyway, and you're like, okay, bye, Felicia, right? Like you're ready to let this person go. And the eclipse rushed in, and this person just came to you one day and said, you know what, I'm out of here. I'm done. I'm leaving. And you're thinking in the back of your mind, well, I was kind of ready for you to go anyway. But again, once the eclipse is there to force us to change and really learn from these changes and bring the spotlight to situations. So you may be ready to let this person go anyway. Okay. All right, so that is for my Virgo rising. But I want to say again, what you're going to learn from this is to really trust your instincts the next go around. All right, so the next go around, you're going to be like, you know what? I saw this early in my previous relationship, but this ain't going to happen again. Okay, so you could lose somebody. It's not just about love, it's relationships of all kinds. Okay. All right, so Libra rising. We're about halfway through. Okay, Libra rising, the lunar eclipse is going to affect your sixth house. So the sixth house is also one of those tough ones. It's kind of like the eighth house. The sixth house is your house of slavery. We call it the house of slavery, the house of work. It's the house of your day-to-day routine. It also deals with your body. Okay. So, wow. Okay. So for the sixth house, this is also the house of disease and sickness. Okay. So there could be something that comes in that's going to spotlight where you are like overly sacrificing, right? So this eclipse can rush in and put the spotlight on, oh my God, I've been busting my ass for this period of time and I'm not doing this anymore. And so it's really going to spotlight where you do a lot of your sacrifice. It could be something simple too, that it's your day-to-day routine of how you get things done. Okay. So if you have a rhythm of how you get things done, the eclipse could step in and go, no, 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 no. You're going to now do it this way. Okay. We're going to switch up, your day-to-day routine. Okay. So that is for, where was I at? So for the Libra rising, this could also be the beginning of a new cycle for you. Okay. So that's refreshing, right? You don't have to die on the sword. You don't have to be in the house of slavery, but it's really going to pinpoint, where have I been busting my ass? And then you're going to sit back and go, I'm not busting my ass anymore like that, right? I'm done with this. Thank God the eclipse came in and spotlighted this. Like, I'm just done. I'm ready to rethink the way I've been doing things day to day. So that is for my Libra rising. Okay. Okay. Scorpio rising. How are my Scorpios out there? The lunar eclipse is going to affect your fifth house. Okay, so what is that? Your fifth house is the house of creativity and fun. So the eclipse is going to step in and really challenge you. Let me say this about Scorpios. Let me just, because I have a really good, well, my husband's a Scorpio. He's Scorpio sun, but Capricorn rising. And one of my best friends is a Scorpio. You guys are really intense, very, very intense. And so the eclipse is going to come in and disrupt your house of fun. What I see possibly that could be happening is that the eclipse is going to say, wait a minute, Scorpio, you need to have more fun. Like, you are just like so intense. Like, when you can spot a Scorpio a mile away with the intensity of their eyes. Like, they're just like laser sharp with the intensity that you see. That's how generally you can spot a Scorpio, but they're very intense. If you're a Scorpio rising, this eclipse is going to say, hey, wait a minute. You haven't been having enough fun lately. This is hitting your house of fun, children, creativity. And it's really going to challenge you to start having more fun and not be so intense and just like, because I know a lot of you Scorpios can get that way. But really, this is really spotlighting, like, where can I have, oh, my hair's falling out here on the side. Where can I have more fun? right, in my life? So it's really going to challenge you to change the way that you have fun. So if you get invited to like try something new, I encourage you as a Scorpio to go out there and just try it and see. And don't do any prejudgment, things like that. Just try to have fun in a different way. Tap into your creativity. Okay, so the lunar eclipse is going to step in and force you to change when it comes up in your life, but it's really going to spotlight. You're going to question the different ways that you have fun in your life. Okay, so if life hasn't been that fun lately, this is the time where the eclipse is going to rush in and go, you know what? You need to start having some more fun. And I really want you to sit back and think, if you're a Scorpio rising, are you happy right now? Okay. Are you happy? And if not, this is a really good time of year to re-examine. Okay, I haven't been having fun lately. I need to go out and have more fun. Whatever it is for you that you enjoy doing, whether it be scuba diving or going and hiking in the mountains, really just tap into where your creativity is sparked, and where you like to have fun. Like, what did you like doing in the past? Okay, this is really going to put the spotlight on that. It'll also put the spotlight on children as well. Okay. Um, and this is also could also force you to really start thinking more creatively, okay, and think outside the box. Like, this is really going to put the emphasis on that. So if you're a Scorpio rising, okay. All right, so moving on. So we're moving on to Sagittarius. So Sagittarius rising. Let me make sure I have my notes here. The eclipse is going to affect your fourth house, which is your house of home and family. So something is changing in the home. Something is going to be taken away in the home. So either like if you're renting out a room, maybe your tenant decides to move out, or maybe you just became an empty nester. That is very typical. If the lunar eclipse is affecting your fourth house and you're a big old mama bear, it could be that all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I'm an empty nester. Now what? What am I going to do? Like, I can't believe this is happening. Like, I miss my babies, right? So it's something with the home that will be taken away and switched up for you. Okay. So it deals with the fourth house. The fourth house is home and family and your roots. Okay. So really, that's really going to be the spotlight here is home, family, and roots. And something, it could be that you're moving too. Maybe all of a sudden your spouse or significant other came home and said, guess what? We're moving. I just got relocated to a new city. And you're like, oh my God, like, I love it here. I'm not ready to move, right? I'm not ready to lose this house that we put so much time and we have memories in and things like that. So again, lunar eclipses deal with something being taken away. Eclipses deal with change. Okay. So something with the home and the family is changing in your life. Okay. So if you're Sagittarius rising, my word of caution to Sagittarius rising is, you guys are fire signs. Sagittarius can be very impulsive. Like, sometimes they don't even think before they act. So I just want to put a little bug in your ear, just a little caution, like, just slow down a little bit. Just take a moment to process everything. If something happens in the home, take a moment and then act. Okay. So I know Sagittarius rising, you guys are like, oh my God, very, very impulsive. Like, I got to do something like right now. It's like, no, 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 no. Just take a moment and just relax and make sure that you're making the right decisions. Okay. So something will happen with the fourth house, home and family and roots. Okay. So my Capricorn rising, this eclipse is going to happen in your third house. Okay. So what is that? Third house is your surroundings. Okay. Has a lot of different meanings. So the third house is communication. It's your surroundings. It's your neighborhood. It's the community that you live in. It also deals with your speech, communication, your environment. So that's what the eclipse is hitting, that. It deals with your mind as well, communication, a lot of mental activity. It deals with siblings, neighbors, friends. What I can say is there's going to be challenges and conflicts coming up. Something is going to be taken away. Maybe one of your neighbors that you just adored, maybe they're moving, right? So you lose one of your neighbors. Something changes in your surrounding and your environment. That's what the third house deals with. It deals with communication, your mental activity, siblings. So it could be a brother or sister that something is changing with them. Okay. Something is changing in your neighborhood. Maybe there's new rules going up in your neighborhood. You live in an HOA or something like that, and something with the neighborhood is changing. Okay. So for where was I at? Capricorn rising. There's changes there. Okay. So in your surroundings, siblings, things like that. Also, the way that you communicate. Maybe all of a sudden you're like, you know what? I've been communicating this way. So if you're an entrepreneur and you're Capricorn rising, it could be that, maybe you were on a certain platform, maybe you were on Instagram or Facebook, and you're like, you know what, I'm switching that up and I'm going this route instead. So it deals with communication, how you express yourself, the way you express yourself, your mental activity. So change is going on there. Okay. Change is good. So maybe if you're an entrepreneur, maybe it's a good time to change up your platform. Maybe something hasn't been working and this will force you like, oh my God, okay, we need to change. So that could happen, if you're an entrepreneur. Okay, moving along, we're going to talk about Aquarius rising. So if you're an Aquarius rising, the eclipse is going to fall into your second house. Second house can be kind of tough. Second house is your earned income. Okay, this is separate from the eighth house. So the eighth house deals with joint resources. Okay. Commissions, joint resources, but the second house, which is opposite, the second house deals with the way that you make your money, it deals with your income. So something is going away. This is going to be could be a huge learning lesson for you if you are an Aquarius rising. This is the time to get your finances in order. So I'm giving you a heads up now. The eclipse is coming. It's coming next week. Something with your finances is going to be changing if you are an Aquarius rising. So Aquarius, I'm not too worried about you because Aquarians are very adaptable. Like Aquarians, the way that their minds work is just constant. It's just constantly turned on. And a lot of Aquarians can really think outside the box. So if something does happen with the way that you bring in money, I can rest assured as an Aquarius rising that you'll figure out a way to get over that hurdle. But that's where the eclipse is happening, something to deal with your income. So it could be that you possibly lose a job, or it could be that maybe you take another job, something totally different, but the pay is lower. Okay, so there's nothing wrong with that either. I've done that in the past where I want to get some experience in this particular industry. So I'm willing to take a pay cut to get that experience. Or maybe you switch jobs in the same company, take a little bit lower pay. Maybe it's less stress, right? Or maybe you just want to gain that experience. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. But the eclipse will come in. It's going to touch your house of money. How you make money, how you bring in money. So I have no doubt as an Aquarius rising that you guys will be okay. You guys will figure out a way to navigate through this eclipse. So it's going to force you to really take a look at how you bring money in. Maybe you'll think of a different way, or maybe all of a sudden you'll decide I need to do a side hustle. Okay, there's a lot of people out there that are doing side hustles, and you're like, you know what? It's just time. It's time for me to do a side hustle if you're Aquarius rising. So, if you're an entrepreneur, I want to say this too. The other thing that could really happen that this eclipse could step in and do is really spotlight how much you are charging for your services. Okay, so if you're an Aquarius rising and you're an entrepreneur, this is a great time to raise your prices and really look at your price structure because maybe you need to be charging more for your services and for your time. Okay, so that could be a very positive effect, okay, is bumping up your prices. As an entrepreneur, you need to really look at time versus money. How much time am I putting in for my clients? Because a lot of people don't realize, the behind the scenes time that it takes to get ready to be prepared when you meet with your client one-on-one. There's a lot of work that happens, and you need to be charging for that. You need to charge appropriately. So if you're an Aquarius rising, it's all about money. Okay. It's all about how you're charging for your services. What's going on with your budget right now? Okay. Let's take the eclipse is going to force you to look at your money. Okay. Alrighty, so moving on, Pisces rising. I'm going to save the best for last. Okay, so Pisces rising. This is actually going to be very good. So if you're a Pisces rising, the eclipse is happening in your first house. So your first house, sometimes it's really hard as astrologers to really read the first house because it's so individualized. The first house is all about you. Okay, it deals with nobody else but you. So the eclipse is going to actually take something away from you that is all about you. And so what does that mean exactly? So it could be, if you're Pisces rising, that all of a sudden you're like, you know what? I'm not living my life this way anymore. We're changing this and we're changing that. And we're changing this. And then the people around you are like, oh my God, like I thought you were going to do this, and this way. And now you're changing it up and you're like, yep, changing it up. It's welcome to the brand new me, right? So this eclipse is happening in Pisces. You're a Pisces rising and it deals with the first house. So this is all about you. I want you to think about, like a snake shedding its skin. And then it's like, okay, the new version of me is out. Okay. And there is no more going back. You can't go back into your old shell, your old way of doing things. So I wouldn't be surprised if you're a Pisces rising, if all of a sudden you're like, I want to change this. I want to change that. I want to change my hair color. I want to change my wardrobe. Like, you have a list of things that affect you personally that you're willing to change. It could be your hairstyle, your hair color, your clothes, your job. It's all about you. Maybe you want to change how you look. You decide to change your eating habits. You decide to go on a diet. Whatever it is. And it's hard as an astrologer to say, because it's so individualized. It's hard to say what aspect of you is going to change and how it's going to change because it's very individual to the person. But so for Pisces, the hardest thing that I see that could be potentially happening with Pisces is the people around you are going, wait a minute. I liked it when you did it this way. I liked it when you were this way. And now all of a sudden it could be something simple like, you know what? Maybe you used to stay up late and you're like, nope, at 10 o'clock, I'm going to bed and I'm going to become an early riser. And the people around you are like, wait a minute, we used to stay up late and watch TV and now you're going to bed and you're going to get up at 5 a.m. That's the change that you're like. People around you are going to have could have a hard time adapting to the new version of you, but it feels really good. It's time, if you're Pisces rising, to create the new version of you and introduce that new version of you to the world and let the other people figure out how they're going to adapt to that. Okay. So how they adapt is none of our business, right? So you just go do you, let the new version of you come out. If you're Pisces rising, this is a great time. And also Saturn, the taskmaster planet, is in your first house. So this is a tough time if you're a Pisces rising. Like, a lot of Pisces rising have not had it easy for the past year. And it's because Saturn is the taskmaster, is going, okay, do this, do that. We need you to pay attention and we need you to change. And then all of a sudden this eclipse is happening in your first house, which is about you changing. So it's time to change. It's time to switch things up if you're a Pisces rising and let the other people around you deal with their own feelings about how they want you to be. It's time to just say, you know what? I don't care what you think. I'm going to be me. And that's all that matters. Okay. So I applaud you for doing that. Sometimes it's hard because sometimes it's the people around us that are going, wait a minute, I thought you were this way and now you're changing up on me. And you're like, no, deep down inside, this is who I really need to be. I'm not going to hide in the shadows anymore. I'm going to step out and this is who I'm going to be. And y'all are just going to have to deal with it. Okay. Yeah, I would love to know about Pisces rising out there. Like in the comment section, let me know, like, what are you changing in your life? What is it about you that you're changing and introducing to the world? Okay. It's okay to be authentic and just, reintroduce yourself to the world and let people know who you really are. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay. So there you go. I went through all 12 signs. And yeah, let me know in the comment section, how you guys are dealing with this eclipse. And I'm curious to know. And just remember, eclipses are not bad. They're just forcing us to change. That's the job of an eclipse, is to step in and say, you know what? It's time to change. It's time to switch it up. Okay. So anyway, you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Let me know how this eclipse is affecting you, and I'll catch you next time. Okay. Take care, everybody. Bye.